Welcome back to In My Opinion. This is day 7 of posting a video every day for 365 days, and today I'm going to talk about wokeism. And it needs to be talked about in India more because unfortunately it is making its way into our culture. So before we talk about its stupidity, its absurdity, let us talk about what basically wokeism is, and then we will just summarize that explanation in a few words. So, in maybe fewer words, let's say, because I'm going to make it short. So, wokeism is basically it's a kind of extreme sense of individualism. That's how I see it. It's extreme individualism and extreme narcissism, uh, and a belief that your personal views about yourself or about the world are to be seen by everyone as you see them, whether or not they are scientifically, logically, or culturally true or appropriate or feasible. That's what wokeism generally manifests itself like. The shorter and more uh, concise and more clear definition for anyone who wants to understand what wokeism is that it is a disease. It's a mental illness, and it needs to be cured by visiting psychiatrists. So now that we have done the definition part, let's talk about what I see happening in India. So we are Indians, and our culture is very inclusive. Naturally, I mean we are a pluralistic country. We have been plural in our views since ancient times, and we have always been this way, and we will always be this way. So there is nothing changing our pluralistic opinion. But one more thing about our culture is accepting differences, but accepting that people will not agree to your different opinion about anything. People don't need to agree about your opinion, agree to your opinion, because your opinion is your own. And this is present in thousands and thousands of ancient debates, whether religious debates, philosophical debates, cultural debates that we have had. It's interesting that the woke culture is so intolerant towards being called out that they lash out once anything of that sort happens. It's more common in the West, but it is making its way into the East now, and it just doesn't make sense. Some of the things don't make sense. So let's start with one thing that I absolutely don't like. That is thinking that you are something, although entire science contradicts what you believe in. Particularly, I'm talking about LGBTQAI++ community, and the forwarding of this culture by state media like BBC, or using multiple sources, Hollywood, and everywhere else. This has become a process, and apparently, becoming more liberal, becoming more LGBTQ pro, becoming more woke, is seen as being intellectual, and especially by the people in Hollywood. It's interesting because Hollywood people are dumb. Everyone knows that they are incompetent in doing anything other than acting, and yeah, that is an art. But apart from that, anything intellectual is not their forte. But for some reason, they want to show themselves as intellectuals by supporting a quote unquote progressive idea. The problem is that progressiveness should not go against science. It should not become contradictory to science. At one point in history, since scientific revolution to until recently, progressivity or progressiveness meant to be being more scientific, being more pro-science, being more logical, being more empirical. That means following evidences. That's what logic. That's what progressiveness was supposed to be and was like until few decades ago, maybe. But ever since this, representation and minimum basic, this communism, and everyone gets to see them as they are. Everything is respectable. This weighing in over morality than ethics. I mean, individual moralities are now more important than the social ethics. This is becoming very rampant in most countries of the world. Of course, countries like Canada and France and US are at the top of the list, but other countries are obviously cozying up to the idea as well, which I completely hate, especially in India's context. So, for example, coming out with these quote unquote pride parades is something that happens in New Delhi and happens in the Delhi campus. I live here, so I kind of know that it happens here. And and somehow certain media like Quint and Wire and such, that left-leaning media, that Marxist urban Naxal media, backed by people like George Soros. These media houses are kind of supporting, backing, giving them undue space to normalize the idea in Indian context. And for example, I would not be making video on such a topic. I'm not saying because it's a taboo or we should not talk about people like that. It's not really that. My culture has accepted these things in the past, so it's already accepted in my culture. But it's just that we respect the people who truly belong scientifically and biologically belong to a community as transgender or queer or whatever. That biologically is that sort. If they want their privacy, if they don't want such conversations, then I want to respect their right to privacy. So that's why I would not want to engage in such conversations. But people who are incompetent in their particular genders, their sexes, they for some reason think that by thinking that you are a certain different sex, they call it gender, they can then come out and they can say that they are this. The biggest hypocrisy in this entire process is that they want everyone to accept that they are this. So they don't want to be called gay man. They want to be called a man if they're a girl, just because they think that they're a man, or the other way around. If they're a man but they think that they're a woman, so they want to be called a woman. But for every actual man or woman, they would add the word cis before it. We don't want to be called cis man or cis woman. We want to be called man and woman, and it's not want to be called really. We are actually, and you are the one who are anomaly in the process, anomaly in this entire system. So you are the one who should get those tags before your title, whatever you believe your title to be, whatever you believe your gender or your sex to be. So it's interesting that these people are becoming more and more common in this society, and they're getting more and more accepted the way they are, considering that it is unscientific and contrary to what truly progressive is supposed to be. So I would like to know your views about this, and I would also like to know if I should change my views on this and maybe some reasons behind it. So comment and tell me anything along those lines. Thank you very much for bearing with me for this long, and I will see you tomorrow.